sing, hey, hey.
The water could be turned off at an historically black college in Atlanta. Morris Brown had until 5 p.m. Tuesday to pay a bill of $214,000. Atlanta water officials turned off the water to the campus in December. At that time, the school owed $380,000. Morris Brown sought a temporary injunction against the city, and a judge ordered water service restored after the school made a $100,000 payment. The rest was due Tuesday. The former college president and financial aid director pleaded guilty in 2006 to embezzlement and theft charges. It cost Morris Brown its accreditation with the Southern Association of Colleges and Schools, which cut off its federal funding and its financial support from the United Negro College Fund. Enrollment plummeted from a high of over 2,000 to fewer than 100 students.
Religious school. We lean and depend heavily on God. That's the only reason we're still here. Amen. That's the only reason. When we lost our accreditation in 2003, everybody was like, that little black school, it's a wrap. They might as well close the doors, board it up. But resilience, faith, a whole lot of prayer has kept the doors of the school open. Okay, it takes $350,000 a month to run our school. Right. We've been able to do that on some grassroots, for real. We've had no major donors come to our aid. No Oprahs, no Bill Cosby, nobody. For real. Nobody. It's us. We've been able to hold it down, okay? The only major donor we've had that step to the plate was Tom Joyner. Tom Joyner gave us $1 million. Other than that, that's it.
It was probably 2004 when I decided to go to Morris Brown, and it was really at the last minute. I was accepted into Morehouse, and I was accepted into a few other schools scattered around the U.S. But my focus was to go to Morehouse, as my sister 10 years prior had graduated from Spelman. And as I got prepared to go to Morehouse, I was thinking about Morris Brown as a possible candidate to go to the school. And I remember back when I would be in Atlanta with my sister, and most of the students that were from Morris Brown, and the love and the connection that they had to each other, and a lot of the respect that they had for each other. Morehouse didn't really have that connection that I was looking for. It didn't have that nurturement. It didn't have what I was looking for, I guess you would say, in a family. They had more of what I was looking from school, and that's not what I wanted. I wanted to be in an environment that I felt that I could nurture myself and also be nurtured from a lot of other people and be able to learn outside of my environment within the classroom.
We were founded in 1881 in the basement of Big Bethel AME Church. Big Bethel AME Church was the first black church of Atlanta. Our school is named for Bishop Morris Brown, who was the second bishop of the AME Church. He was given credit for having one of the first mega churches in the nation. As a slave, he was taught to read. Of course, back in that day, even if you were caught with a book, it was something you could lose your life for. So instead of him just sitting on this gift and this blessing of being educated, what he did was he would sneak the slaves off the plantation into the woods, teaching them how to read the Bible. In doing so, he had over 3,000 slaves that would walk from the surrounding states to congregate with his congregation. Word got back to the white folks that he was educating slaves. They didn't like that, so they wanted to kill him. One of the things that happened in the midst of them searching for Morris Brown to lynch him was the Denmark-Vesey conspiracy, Nat Turner revolt. All these things were attached to them trying to search for Morris Brown. So what they did, there's an old myth that said they packed Morris Brown up in a box like he was a piece of mail, and they shipped him to Philadelphia. When in Philadelphia, he met Richard Allen. After that, he became the second bishop of the AME Church, and we named our school in 1881 after Bishop Morris Brown. He was long dead and gone before we named our school after him, but it was because of his passion, his vision to educate his people, even if it meant his life, that we named our school Morris Brown.
I think Morris Brown means to me, and what you'll find in many alumni of historically black colleges, university. One is I was attracted to Morris Brown because that's where my mentor went. Late Senator Arthur Langford graduated and attended Morris Brown College. I was a part of a leadership institute that he founded when I was 17. And so what Morris Brown means is more than just a connection between me and a mentor who meant so much to me, but it also is a connection between me and the history of our people.
This was the actual campus for Atlanta University, all right? I don't know if you guys know any history about the other schools, but Atlanta University and Clark College were two different colleges. They went through some financial problems. This isn't anything new to black schools, people. So they had to merge. So they merged those schools, and in 1988, they created Clark Atlanta University, all right? When they merged those schools, they moved from this side of the AU over there. So a lot of the land that was close to our campus, they deeded to Morris Brown College. All right, so that's how we were able to acquire some of our 35 acres. Y'all all right? Yeah. Okay, this building right here, this is Fountain Hall. This is a national landmark on our campus. Whenever you get literature from Morris Brown College, it usually has the clock tower on it. The significance of this building to Morris Brown is that you see this window right here on the 3rd floor? Can anybody tell me who was W.E.B. Du Bois?
Oh, the Ryder.
Ryder, what else? Schuyler, what else?
You was smart.
What organization did he found? NAACP, the founder of the NAACP, a great educator. His main office was located right there on that 3rd floor when he taught here in Atlanta University. All right? Also, does anybody know who James Weldon Johnson is? James Weldon Johnson, can anybody tell me? He wrote what? What song?
I know, everybody.
Nope. Lift every voice and sing. He also had an office located in this building. So this has a lot of historic significance for our campus. This is Fountain Hall.
I think I was going to Morris Brown College when I was like 3 years old. You know, being a native of Columbus, Georgia, you know, you always heard about, you know, Morehouse, you know, Clark Atlanta, as well as Spelman. But Morris Brown College, you know, I just knew right then and there it would definitely be one of the greater institutions that I go to. We have an uncle that attended Morris Brown as well. And so when the opportunity came to audition for the band and just getting a chance to see the campus life and seeing how it was, and you know, seeing this as a kid, you know, growing up, it was like, okay, yeah, this is definitely be the institution that I'll be attending to further my education. So I'm forever grateful for that.
What made me want to go to Morris Brown College was, it was kind of shocking because of the fact that I really didn't know anything about it until when my brother went to Morris Brown. Or before even then, there was a t-shirt he had that had Morris Brown on it, and I didn't know what it meant. I thought it was just, oh, okay, Morris Brown. I thought it was just another, like a clothing line or something, so I didn't know what it was. And then when he got accepted to Morris Brown, I thought in my head, you know, I was in high school, I was like, okay, this is actually an institution. Because I was all into the band. My thing was, you know, marching the band, and I was going to actually go to Alabama State University. But then the opportunity for Morris Brown came up, and I said, okay, let me take it. And when I went up there and I saw the band and the performance, the way they carried themselves, it just gave me a whole different point of view about Morris Brown as an institution.
And also, I think one of the major parts about Morris Brown, you know, being also a band member, trumpet player, T-Force, Ball 95, was the fact that it's very family oriented. You know, it's kind of like once you bond in the band, and not just that particular organization, but each organization that you were involved in, it was definitely family oriented. You know what I mean? And it's definitely something that you hold on to and you carry for a lifetime. You know, you can see people, you can have on a band shirt, and you can walk in the malls, and people are like, yo, you went to Morris Brown. It's like, wow, you know. And, you know, one of the beautiful things about Morris Brown, I just got back from a trip from Italy, and my wife and I, we were walking down the street in Venice, and actually, you know, this lady was looking outside of the restaurant, which is so ironic. We walked in the restaurant, we introduced ourselves to the lady, and come to find out she's a Morris Brown graduate. So it shows you not saying that other institutions don't allow you to expand, but it's so beautiful to see, you know, Morris Brown expand the way it expanded, because, you know, when you look at it on a pole or on a scale, Morris Brown definitely played like the bottom role to Clark, unfortunately, to Spelman, and to Morehouse. So to be overseas and to see people say, well, I went to Morris Brown too, it's just definitely one of the best things that you could ever say that you been to. So yeah, that was, you know, it's just a family. It's a family, no matter where you're at, no matter, you know, what part of the country, you know, whether you're in New York, or, you know, whether you're in LA, you know, somebody knows about Morris Brown, you know, and I think that's one of the many things that I love about Morris Brown, because once you come in, you consider family and your family for a lifetime.
Morris Brown have a tradition that every freshman that came in had to wear a beanie. And so regardless of what you thought you might have been, when you got there, you were required to wear a beanie, and you were required to understand the history. You were given a book, The First 100 Years of Morris Brown College. You had to know the history. So it was really the indoctrination of what Morris Brown really stands for, and that is a proud tradition of an African people.
May all the freshmen please stand. New students as well, all new students. Since the early 1950s, a part of the Morris Brown tradition has been the adornment of the beanies. All of the students who have been in the same position where you stand today have something in common with you. We have all worn the beanie. We use this as a sense of pride for our student population. Yes, it's uncomfortable. Yes, it's weird. Yes, it's strange. But it's a tradition. As a new student, if you take the word that I had written here that's been on my mind was sacrifice. And you are standing on the shoulders of our ancestors who have made a major sacrifice for you to be in the seats that you're in today. Your parents have sacrificed for you to be here today. And you wearing the beanie, for some of you, has been a sacrifice. But what we've tried to embed in you is that once you remove the beanie, you won't be ashamed to adorn Morris Brown paraphernalia. If this has made you uncomfortable, that's fine. But as you walk this Atlanta University Center, as you wear that royal purple and that pure white, you must understand that no longer are you an individual, but you came together as one because you all are sharing in the same beanie ceremony. So as we move forward to our induction ceremony, we ask that all of our alums, as well as returning students, please stand. And we want you to form a line here in the front so that we may receive our new students. As you can see, we have some throwbacks in our midst. Old school beanies. Now, once you remove this, you're going to hold on to this forever. Forever. This is going to be something that you will always have in common with the people that are standing in front of you. Every person that is now standing in front of you has that same thing in common with you. So we ask that you put your right hand on your heart and repeat after me. As a proud student of Morris Brown College, I will at all times and in all places promote the good name and reputation of such an outstanding institution. With dignity, I will demonstrate in my character an air of pride and love for my institution. that will be noticeable and respected by all. I promise to take full advantage. I promise to take full advantage of the opportunity granted to me through the sacrifices of those that have come before me. I will let the light of Morris Brown shine within me by way of scholarship, by way of respect, by way of service. I am Morris Brown, and Morris Brown is me. Congratulations, you've been inducted into Morris Brown.
I remember when I was applying for colleges that you had to look a certain way.
Or they tried to sell the college.
They tried to sell the college.
They tried to sell the college on the celebrities that were going. You know what
that
I mean?
was donated.
Right. You know, that's they tried to, well, oh, Spike Lee does this, or this person did this, or whatever. But at the end of the day, you're not going to college based on celebrities. You're going to college for an education. And the one thing that I did, I have to say, is that Morris Brown accepted you. They didn't really, they paid attention to your ACT scores, SAT scores, but it was not the highlight of you getting into college. Yeah. I think, everybody's not great test takers,
Right.
And I think if you could balance out great academic performance in the classroom in high school and still go to this great institution and come out well, I think, we're both living witnesses. I'm not going to sit here and say that I came into Morris Brown fresh out of high school with a 4.0 GPA. It definitely didn't happen. And my SAT scores were but they weren't nothing to brag about. But going to Morris Brown definitely prepared me to go, to an Ivy League school, Columbia University in New York City. And, at the end of the day, Morris Brown has just as a powerful curriculum. They strive for positive academic performance just as well as any other institution. So Morris Brown prepares the students just as well.
I think I definitely agree with him on that because, like I was saying, I remember when you apply for a school, it used to be times where you had to send your picture to those institutions, and they would judge you to see, okay, does this person fit that profile to be a part of our institution? Morris Brown, they accept you for who you are, what you can carry. I mean, if you can, they accept you. And I think that's what a lot of it is about. I mean, it teaches you that in life as well, that life is also about acceptance and accepting a person for who they are. Your grades might be 2.5. I'm not gonna sit up there and say I had a 3.0 or a 4.0 while I was in high school. But when you get to Morris Brown, they're the type of institution I think that will work with you. And they feel like, okay, if his grades aren't up to par right now, when he get out of school, his grades are going to be up there.
And Student Support Services is definitely one of the programs
one of the institutions that did that.
Definitely, Student Support Services at Morris Brown, they definitely prepared, because we both were in Student Support Services, and they definitely prepared us both, to strive well academically, and it's been wonderful ever since. So, I mean, I'm proud to say I'm an honor student out of Morris Brown. I graduated, with a 3.8 GPA, and to get accepted, like I said earlier, into an Ivy League school, it's just a blessing in a sense. So yes, Morris Brown definitely prepared me well.
In the early 1900s, when Atlanta University was here, on this side of the campus, all of their dormitories were. On this side of the campus, all of their academic buildings stood. This bridge wasn't here. And of course, this was not named Martin Luther King. It was Hunter Street. As students would cross from their dormitories to go to class, they faced a lot of opposition. Number one, they were black students in the South going to school to better themselves. They had access to education. A lot of people didn't want our grandparents in school. Great-great-great-grandparents in school. So what those individuals would try to do as the students crossed the street to get to class was they would try to hit those students with their cars. They hated the fact that you were trying to be educated. They couldn't stand it. So what the community did was they built a makeshift bridge from that side of the campus to this side of the campus so students could have safe transport. All right? Later on, the city of Atlanta, they came in, they built a bridge that's similar to this one. This is an upgraded bridge. So what we tell our students that are going through processes, what we tell our students that are freshmen, You cannot use this bridge until you take your education just as serious as our ancestors took theirs. They were willing to lose their lives just to get to class.
There's something special about being an alum of a historically black college and university. I mean, the bottom line is it connects you. It connects you to a whole group of folk who, if you were at Bethune-Cookman, they love the school, and you'll never change that. You at Morehouse, Spelman, wherever you are, I think that the alumni of any college play a critical role in terms of the maintenance of that college, in terms of the further perpetuation of the realness of it, and what the historically black college and university experience have been about. You'll never find anybody more dedicated than an alum of a historically black college and university. 50 years, 60 years old, they come back for homecoming and all that reminds them of the first day they walk on that college campus.
My most memorable moment, I would truly have to say, man, so many. Coming to a Morris Brown homecoming. I transferred from a predominantly white school. Homecoming's next weekend. Get there!
That's right.
But that has to be my most memorable moment, because going to a white institution prior to me coming, homecoming was like, are you guys serious? And coming to a Morris Brown homecoming, it was family evoked. Everyone, I don't need to know your name, but I know that you're a Brownite. And it was like, oh brother, I'll fix your plate. And it was like, I came from up north, so it was like, everybody is talking to me and I don't even know your name. Like, we don't do that. You keep it moving. Yeah. Let's keep it moving. It's a family environment. Everybody pulls on you, tug on. Don't see nobody in the streets with Morris Brown paraphernalia.
Right.
I don't care what I'm doing. I could be on my way to a very important meeting.
I'm
going to be a little late because I'm going to stop to that Brown night. Yeah. That's how it is at Morris Brown.
General perception that people have about Morris Brown College is that it's closed down. A lot of people think Morris Brown is closed. Even past Brownites think it's closed. People at the Woodruff Library, as of today, still thinking the institution is closed. And I'm here just to let them know we're not closed. That's the ignorance that the public is portraying, that the media is pretty much portraying. It's saying that since Morris Brown has lost their accreditation, that the doors are closed. And that's absolutely wrong. I'm living proof. I actually am a graduated senior of this class, and I attended class first semester. Doors been wide open for me. Next year we're bringing in 300 more students. We're building our rapport again. We reapply for our accreditation, so hopefully within the next couple of years, things are gonna change for the better for Morris Brown.
To me, accreditation doesn't mean anything. If Harvard can turn out great doctors and great lawyers without accreditation, can't we do the same thing? All it means really is that we get federal support, but sometimes we need to learn how to get beyond and go throughout the community and gain help from those around us to give back to our community so they will be willing to give back to us.
What does it mean to be accredited? What is that? What is that word? You hear it all the time. It's a big word. Accounted for? Okay. I can take that. Certified? Okay.
Like say, oh, this college is accredited, but we don't think this college is. It's just somebody's thoughts about the college rather than actually being, oh, it's accredited, it's something big. If you're not accredited, it's not that bad. It's just accredited schools are held at a higher standard.
Okay. She said accredited schools are held at a higher standard. Okay. I'll deal with that one.
Isn't being accredited like you have to reach a certain standard that people want you to reach as a teacher, but the teachers are not reaching that standard as teaching the students what they need to learn?
Part of it was right. A certain standard was good. The other part, kind of off. Let me educate you all right? Accreditation means that your school receives federal funding from the U.S. government. At any time that you do not meet the standards that the U.S. government or the agency, whoever the accrediting body is, whenever you don't meet those standards that they put in place, then at that time, they can choose to not allow you to have federal support. Okay? It doesn't mean that your credits don't matter. It doesn't mean that you can't get a degree. It doesn't mean that your degree is not valid. What were some of the other things? It doesn't mean that it's a waste of time. All right? What it does mean is that when you attend school here, you cannot use a FAFSA. You cannot use a FAFSA. You know what FAFSA is? Financial aid. Okay? So when you attend Morris Brown, you can no longer use the Pell Grant. You can no longer use federal loans. All right? We do have financial aid available though, but it's just not from Uncle Sam. A lot of the misconceptions that we heard when we lost our accreditation was that your students can't go to graduate school, your students can't get jobs, your students can't do this, your degree doesn't mean anything, things of that nature. The real deal is this. At the end of the day, when you sit at a table to negotiate who you're going to work for, to get a job from someone, it's about what you know. 9 times out of 10, no one's going to ask you to even see your degree after you get it. It might be something you want to put on your wall, but nowhere on that degree is it going to say accredited or unaccredited. A lot of times they're going to ask to see your transcripts. They want to see what kind of student you were, what kind of grades you got in the classroom. They want to see your resume. They want to see what can you bring to this company. Also, a lot of the majors that we did offer that would fall under the realm of your degree looked at in a somewhat of a negative way dealing with accreditation are jobs that have to deal with the U.S. government. The U.S. government are the ones who grant accreditation, all right? At any time that you try to apply for a job with them, most times you're trying to teach, things of that nature. Those are the individuals that are looking for your degree to be accredited. A lot of the majors that we now offer are not in those areas. So let's say you go to school for 4 years, right? You get a degree in business, or you get a degree in entrepreneurship, or you get a degree in music industry, all right? Let's say you walk in the office of So-So-Def, you sit down, Jermaine Dupree is looking at your resume, and he sees that you've made all these different tracks. He sees that you've written songs for this individual, that individual. He sees that you've choreographed for this music video, that music video. Do you think he's going to say, well, is your degree accredited? Let's be real. Okay? So, what you also have to put in mind is that there are a number of institutions in America that are unaccredited. A whole lot of them. You know why they're unaccredited? What'd you say?
Huh?
What'd you say?
I said, because y'all don't need financial statements.
No. Why do you think some other institutions are not accredited? Because they don't need Uncle Sam's money. There are some schools in the U.S. that students are in such a high tax bracket, their parents make so much money, if they apply for financial aid, they wouldn't get it. You know that? So, a lot of these schools across the U.S. don't need Uncle Sam's dollars. Whenever he gives your school money, he dictates what you're able to do. What kind of student you admit, what your requirements are, what your curriculum looks like, things of that nature. So in 2003, because of the instability of our financial resources, Morris Brown lost its accreditation.
One of the great tragedies of Morris Brown and what happened to its accreditation is, as I said in these simplistic terms, what freed slaves were able to put together, educated Negroes ran into the ground. And so, you know, part of what we have to do is understand that there is a greater cause and a calling for us. When people yearn to be free, the one thing that nobody can take from you is that which you know that you know. And so I always lean towards making sure that our people have as greater access to education and educational opportunities as possible.
Going to Morris Brown College was probably the best decision I could make to go to any school, and I'll break that down real quick. If I went to, say, Harvard or Stanford or UC Berkeley or Morehouse or Howard, I would basically feel like I'm entitled to receive something as soon as I graduate, or anytime I'm working, I would, hey, I went to Howard. I should get something. Being that the economy is so different now, and being that the U.S. economy was always different, it was always kind of gloomy, looking into the years of like 2006, 2007. You saw that was kind of like, transitioning down. you got to really kind of understand that, you know, being in the world and definitely being in business, there's a lot of struggles. And I know that, you know, going to Morris Brown, that, you know, it was basically going to be struggle. And that really prepped me for the world. And I think that a lot of the schooling and a lot of the education that you get, of course, from college is always outside of the classroom. And so I felt that Morris Brown would be the best place for me to be, to learn about struggle, to learn about, you know, having a hard time, to really know what it was to be without. And that's what we were. We were without, you know, students. We were without, you know, a lot of, you know, a big atmosphere or a large population. We were without, you know, all the curriculums that, you know, most other colleges offer. And we were also going through a time where basically we were, you know, media people. You know, we always had to be ready for attacks. You know, I've heard it all, from old people to young people to even family members. But that got me prepared. And I feel that I'm stronger and more, you know, prepared for the world than, say, you know, some other kids that graduated in 2008 from other schools like Morehouse and Harvard and Howard. I feel that I'm more prepared than they are to handle struggle. And that's not what they teach at school. They teach success. And you can't really reach success without struggle. So I think I'm a little bit more to that road.
When I think of the new students attending Morris Brown today, you know, I definitely think, you know, especially with now what the college is going through right now, I think it should definitely make them stronger. You know, definitely appreciate the institution, and also I take my hat off to the new kids. Exactly. You know what I mean? Because so many people can get deterred from Morris Brown because of what they're going through or the history or whatever. So I have the utmost respect for the new generation, for the new class of students that's coming in. Absolutely.
That's exactly what I was going to say.
And they're going to get just as great education as we did. You know what I mean? At the end of the day, we're all striving strong. So yes, I really got utmost respect for the new generation.
If Morris Brown goes, the rest of those colleges and universities will go too. Right? The same people that want us for the wrong reasons are the same people that will want all the rest of it for the wrong reasons. But we have to also understand, if they ever get this, they'll want 2 miles on the other side of this. Right? This is not a struggle for we who are here at this moment. This is not a struggle simply for a piece of ground. This is a struggle for the ground of history upon which we move and have our being, and which we can see our future. Without it, everything else goes. When this was throwaway property and nobody wanted it, we took it and made something out of it. And it's ours. That's what we must understand. That's who we are. And we will be here from now on fighting for the right to be.
We are in the process of getting a part of our federal funding, where our statewide funding is going to be returned to the institution for the next fall, which is our Hope Scholarship. That's our Georgia grant. So students that are here in the state of Georgia will be able to go basically almost free, since tuition is only $3,500. But that's the first step that's a major piece to us gaining all of our accreditation back. We don't plan on being unaccredited for long, all right? But until we can prove to the U.S. government that we're financially stable, we've increased our endowment, then we can reapply for our accreditation. All right? This is one of my favorite parts of the campus. This is the historic Herndon Stadium. This happens to be one of the largest stadiums in black college football. This stadium holds 15,000 people. This stadium is big enough to hold all the schools here in the AU at one time. Clark, Spelman, Morehouse, Morris Brown. We can all fit in here. This stadium was built for the '96 Olympics. In this stadium, they played field hockey. The stadium is named for Alonzo Herndon. Alonzo Herndon was the first black millionaire of Atlanta. He was the first black millionaire of Atlanta. His house is actually located on our campus. Y'all remember Heritage Hall in Stump the Yard? Yeah. That's his house. Okay? He lived probably maybe about 300-400 yards from where we're currently standing. And he had a theater built on the top of the roof of his house. I'm talking about some old school MTV cribs. Old school, early 1900s. He would come out on the rooftop of his house, and he could hear our band practicing at the bottom of the hill. He fell in love because he felt like he was getting his own personal show. You know, they were real big on music, you know. And what he wanted to do was he wanted to build a facility for the band. He didn't really care too much about football. He wasn't really a sports person, but he loved music. So in the early 1900s, they built Herndon Stadium, which sat in the same location where this stadium sits today. And at that time, it was the only black-owned facility in the southeastern region. This was the only place where our ancestors could come and enjoy some form of entertainment without dealing with where can I sit, which water fountain can I drink out of, are they gonna mess with me, are they gonna sick the dogs on me, they gonna turn the water hoses on. This was the venue. So when you looked at all those pictures that you saw on the walls, you saw people like Muhammad Ali, you saw people like Joe Louis, you saw Motown greats. Those people performed in here. It was the only venue. All the black colleges in the city, this was their home field. Nobody else had a stadium. All the civil rights marches and rallies and things of that nature, they started here. So when the 96 Olympics came, they tore down the old stadium and they built this stadium. Okay? This building that you see right here, this is another jewel on our campus. This building was built in 1862. This building is actually the oldest standing building in the city of Atlanta. This building is actually older than Morris Brown College itself. It's old. It's real old. Okay? The reason this building is still standing is that this building survived the burning of Atlanta. What happened? What was going on during the burning of Atlanta? What was that?
Wasn't they like never mind.
During the end of the Civil War, what happened to the city of Atlanta? It was burned to the ground. General Sherman came through, and they began to burn a lot of the buildings that were here in the city of Atlanta. They were trying to control the city of Atlanta because all of the major railroads ran through here. So if I can lock down the city, then I can have transportation for my troops, my weapons, everything. So I can basically win the war, all right? Remember I told you we're sitting on one of the highest hills in the city, right?
You can see everything.
You can see everything coming your way. So you set up the cannons on the hill, you got prime position. You can see everybody who's supposedly coming after you. So he used this building as his office building for his troops. That's why this building survived the burning of Atlanta.
We want to continue the legacies that we have for past, present, and future students, alums, family, their children, their grandchildren. This is an institution that is of higher learning, and we want to give back not only to the community, but we want the world to know that Morris Brown is still here and alive and kicking.